Hello, and thanks for tuning in to this second entry into our blog about setting the right expectations for learning how to play the acoustic guitar. In the first video, I talked about making sure that you have an instrument, a guitar, that is appropriate for learning. It's set up correctly for a beginner. And I don't need to go over that again. You can go check that video out if you like. But the main point was just that you want to be sure that it has good playability, which generally means that the strings are not too far up off of the fretboard, so that when you're trying to make your first chords, you don't have to press so far down. And you want to have it set up correctly because you don't want to be fighting the guitar or having the guitar fight you when you're just starting out. And so check out that video, and I give you some good thoughts on that. In this second video, I'm just going to talk real briefly about a couple of points about getting ready, getting prepared to play. This is about kind of getting your expectations for embarking upon this journey. The first thing you want to think about is if you're going to be learning, you need to find a place in your home where you can practice, where you can learn. When we learn a musical instrument, we always call that time our practice time. And what are you going to be looking for is very simple. You just want a place where you feel comfortable, it has good lighting. But the main thing is that it's a place where you won't be disturbed and where you won't be disturbing others. So that's the main consideration. For example, you wouldn't want to be trying to practice in a place where you were near people watching television, because that would be a distraction for you, and also your playing would be a distraction for them. So you want to find a place a little bit far away from that. Also, you don't want to be someplace where people are passing through all the time. Again, only because that'll distract you and interrupt you when you're trying to learn. So those are the main considerations. You want to just find a place and get set up in a way that you won't be disturbed. The other thing you can do is talk to the people who are living around you, your family or friends, whoever live with you in your home or apartment, and just tell them what you're up to, that you're going to be learning how to play guitar and you're going to be practicing and you're going to need some time where you aren't disturbed. And it's better just to kind of let them know ahead of time, and then they can support you in that endeavor. So that's your environment, getting all set up to play. The other thing to be thinking about early on is you're going to need some time to devote to this, and so you need to think about where that time is going to come from. The good news is you don't need a lot of time in the early days. You can maybe just, for a lot of people, it's as simple as maybe not watching quite as much television during the week, maybe taking a couple of hours away from your TV time and budgeting that out over the course of a week so that you can spend some time learning. You don't need a lot of time because in the early days when you're learning acoustic guitar, you're mainly learning how to play your first chords and toughening up your fingers. And to do that doesn't really require a lot of time. Again, just a few minutes playing each day or a couple times a day, a few times during the week is all you need really to start getting those chords going and getting your fingers toughened up. And once you've gotten through that early period, then you'll find that when you have more to do, more to practice, and you know more, you'll naturally be extending out your practice time a little bit to accommodate that. But you don't really have to plan for that. It happens sort of organically. So don't worry about it too much, but just want to let you know that in the early days, getting started doesn't require a lot of time, but you do want to set sort of a minimum amount of time, a minimum amount of, maybe a goal for how much time you can spend, an hour or two during the week. That's better at this point than, say, I'm trying to set a gigantic, I'm going to play a couple hours every day, 7 days a week. Because when you set kind of an unreasonable goal and then you don't make it, you may feel bad, and you don't need to at that point. You don't need to do that. Just start out in a very modest way by allocating an hour or two to your practicing, to your toughening up your fingers and learning those early chords, and then we'll go from there. It'll happen very naturally. When you see somebody playing, you may wonder, well, how in the world did they learn all of the things that you're seeing them do? It's kind of hard to imagine what that process is that would get you from not knowing anything to being able to do the kind of things you see your favorite guitar players doing. Well, the main thing I want to tell you about that is no matter how great a guitarist is, they started out the same way you're starting out. Every one of them, myself included. Not that I'm a great guitarist, but think of Jimi Hendrix if you like, or Pat Metheny or Andre Segovia, whatever your favorite kind of guitar playing is. There came a time when they got their first guitar and they plopped it down on their lap and they reached out and they were trying to play their first chords and they found it to be awkward and maybe difficult, a little bit hard, and their fingers got a little sore just when they're starting out. That happens to everybody. It's going to happen to you, but don't worry about it. It's just a matter of you go through the process. Before you know it, your fingers toughen up and you'll be on your way. It's like any journey. It's just taking it step by step by step. And once you do start the journey and you go forward, you'll find that you'll be playing before you know it. So this whole idea is to get you ready so that you can go out and learn how to play this wonderful instrument, the acoustic guitar.